My Weirdtastic School. Book number 1. Miss Banks Pulls Lots of Pranks. Written by Dan Gutman. Pictures by Jim Pelot. Chapter 5. Smell-o-vision. Miss Banks laughed her head off after she tricked the whole class into walking around the woods, flapping our arms, and calling out Sloof Lurpa over and over again. She even shot a video of us on her cell phone. I bet she's going to show it to the teachers in the teacher's lounge. Miss Daisy, our second grade teacher, was weird. Mr. Granite and Mr. Cooper, our third grade teachers, were weird too. But now that I'm older and wiser and in fourth grade, I'm beginning to think Miss Banks is the weirdest teacher of all of them. Before we move on to math, she announced, "Who wants gum?" I do. In case you were wondering, everybody said they wanted gum. To be honest, I'm not a big gum fan. Gum is okay, but it loses its flavor and tastes yucky after 5 minutes. Then you have to keep this tasteless ball of gunk in your mouth until you can find a garbage can. But I said I do anyway when Miss Banks offered us gum. Why? Because teachers never give us gum. They're always telling us to spit out our gum. Do you have any Oreos? I asked. I'm not a big gum fan. No, said Miss Banks. I just have gum. She brought around a plate with a bunch of pieces of gum on it, and they were all different colors. I picked a green piece and popped it in my mouth. Yuck! It tasted awful. This isn't gum, shouted Ryan. It's Play-Doh. Ugh, gross, I shouted. It's terrible. Oops, said Miss Banks. My mistake. Ha ha ha. Time is fun when you're having flies. What did that mean? I can't believe I fell for another one of Miss Banks's pranks. I should have known better and refused to eat the gum. That's it. I promised myself that I would never ever eat anything else that Miss Banks offered me. What are we going to learn in math this year? Asked Miss I Want to Know Everything. Oh, we're going to learn about percentages and fractions and decimals and 3-digit multiplication and blah 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 blah. Zzz. Oh, sorry, I dozed off there for a minute. It's hard to keep my eyes open when anyone is talking about math. But today I have a special surprise for you, said Miss Banks. Uh-oh, I could only imagine what kind of surprise she was going to pull on us. I was expecting the worst. But Miss Banks opened a big box and pulled out a bunch of laptop computers. She handed one to each of us. These are called dome books, she told us. All fourth graders in the district get them. Are they free? Asked Emily. Yes, said Miss Banks. Just take good care of your dome book and give it back at the end of the school year. Cool! I always wanted my own laptop so I could play video games on school time. These laptops are not for playing video games on school time, Miss Banks warned us. We're going to use them for lots of subjects, including math. In fourth grade, you're going to learn about mixed numbers and blah, 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 blah. She went on like that for 1,100,000 hours. I thought I was gonna die from old age. Finally, she told us how to turn on our dome books. These are very advanced laptops, Miss Banks explained. They have a built-in app that produces smells to go with certain numbers. Like when you press the number 1 key, the screen gives off a smell like an apple. And when you press the number 2 key, it smells like strawberry. It's called Smell-o-vision, and it's going to help you learn math. I never heard of laptops giving off smells, but I guess it could be possible. They're doing amazing things with computers these days. Go ahead, said Miss Banks. Try it. We all started pressing the keys on our dome books to see what smells came out. I think I smell it, said Andrea. It's cinnamon. Me too, said Emily, who smells everything that Andrea smells. The number 3 key smells like roses, said Neil. The number 8 key smells like a hamburger, said Michael. I pressed all the keys on my keyboard and sniffed the screen. It just smelled like a computer to me. I can't smell anything, I said. Put your nose right up close to the screen, AJ, said Miss Banks. Maybe you have a bad sense of smell, Arlo, said Andrea. Your face has a bad sense of smell, I told her. But maybe Andrea was right. Maybe I don't smell very good. Wait, let me put that in different words. Maybe I can't smell stuff very well. I put my nose close to the screen and sniffed for a long time, trying to catch a whiff of something. And you'll never believe who poked her head into the door at that moment. Nobody. Why would you poke your head into a door? That would hurt. But you'll never believe who poked her head into the doorway. It was the elementary school computer teacher, Mrs. Yonkers. I hope you're enjoying your dome books, she said. They're going to come in handy this year. Why is AJ sniffing his screen? Beats me, said Miss Banks. Kids do weird things. But, I said. You told us. Miss Banks laughed because I said but, which sounds just like but, even though it only has one T. Chapter 6. Won't get fooled again. That's it. I'm not going to fall for any more of Miss Banks's pranks. There's an old saying that goes, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. I don't remember the rest. It goes something like that. Before we move on to social studies, said Miss Banks, who wants a cookie? Not me, I shouted. I don't, said Andrea. Me neither, said Emily. In case you were wondering, nobody wanted one of Miss Banks's cookies. What? Said Miss Banks. I thought kids love cookies. What's wrong with you? You're just going to pull another one of your pranks on us, said Alexia. Who, me? Asked Miss Banks, like she was surprised. Pranks? I have no idea what you're talking about. You offered us brownies that weren't brownies, said Michael. Then you offered us donuts that weren't donuts. Then you offered us gum that wasn't gum. So I bet your cookies aren't really cookies either. That's right, we all said. Miss Banks looked hurt. She took a box out of her desk drawer. Suit yourselves, she said as she sat down and put her feet upon her desk. More cookies for me. She reached into the box and took out a cookie. It looked a lot like... No! Is that an Oreo? I asked. Of course, said Miss Banks. I love Oreos. They're my favorite kind of cookie. Mine too. She took a bite of the Oreo and then closed her eyes as she chewed it really slowly. Then she took another bite. It looked like she was chewing the Oreo in slow motion. She moaned. You kids don't know what you're missing. I was drooling. That Oreo looked so good. It looked like one of those double-stuffed Oreos, too. They have twice as much stuffing, so they have the perfect name. I wanted an Oreo more than anything in the history of the world. Yum, Miss Banks said as she finished her Oreo. Maybe for once she wasn't pranking us. Okay, I finally shouted. Can I have an Oreo? Me too, said Ryan. Me 3, said Michael. Me 4, said Alexia. That's the spirit, Miss Banks said. She took her feet off her desk and gave each of us an Oreo. Cookies in school! This was the greatest day of my life. I took a bite out of the Oreo. It took about 2 seconds for me to realize that it tasted funny. The Oreo didn't taste like an Oreo. Ugh, gross, disgusting, I said. What is this? Asked Alexia. Oh, I forgot to mention something, said Miss Banks. I filled the Oreos with toothpaste. What? Haven't you heard? Said Miss Banks. This is the latest thing in dental hygiene. With toothpaste-flavored Oreos, kids can eat cookies and fight cavities at the same time. Ahaha, time is fun when you're having flies.